in the form of perhaps somebody passes away in 9/11 or soul's contract, et cetera, et cetera. God decides that, not us. So just let's keep that in mind. So, and the other thing too is I want to mention is the truth is death is a normal and natural transition from earth to the eternal. So now we're going to shift and talk about the two aspects of death. So we have the physical, worldly perspective, and then we have the spiritual, soul, eternal perspective, right? So we know at the physical level, we're here in a physical body, our bodies eventually transition. And then we have the spiritual, that we have souls in our physical body, and our souls go and transition, into the eternal. So I think it's helpful that we let those both coexist. So while we're on earth, whatever we need to do, if we want to, keep ourselves healthy and things like that, there's nothing wrong with that, but also remembering that no matter what happens to us at the physical level, that our souls are unscathed. They are untouched by any illness, by any pain, by any choices that we've made. That is forever alive inside of us when we're in the physical body or not. And that's true for others. Ram Dass said, if I'm going to die, the best way to prepare is to quiet my mind and open my heart. He also says, if I'm going to live, the best way to prepare is to quiet my mind and open my heart. So dying is about moving that physical body to the eternal soul. While our body, or I like to call it our communication device, like this is our communication devices, dies, we don't. Our spirits and soul remains unchanged. And if we do believe that we're eternal, then there is nothing to fear in the passing away of this communication device, because this is a part of our spiritual experience while on earth. As a Course in Miracles teacher, I usually get the question at some point in class, what about the Holocaust? Or what about 9/11? What about these great tragedies? Can you help explain this? And you know what I tell them? No, I can't. I usually don't see them return to my class. And that's okay. Because, and the reason why is there are, even if I could give you an explanation, one, is that going to make you feel better? Two, is that going to change anything? And three, there are no explanations for those type of events that would really help us, give us peace about it, I can't give you an explanation about the Holocaust that would give peace to that. I can't give you an explanation spiritually as the 9/11 attacks and other attacks that we can think of. But, here's the silver lining. Instead, we are given an opportunity to turn those moments into transformation if we choose. If we choose. So we can take these things that seem so unfathomable to us and we can transform it. And that's what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about today. And we've heard we're physical bodies living, we're spiritual bodies living in an earthly experience. And, our souls are still continuing to connect in the physical body to God when we're in the body and when we transition out. So those that have made their earthly transition, they haven't died, okay? They haven't died. At their spiritual levels, their souls have completed their journey and moved on to another dimension. And I want to remind us that when they go to heaven, to the next dimension, however you want to name it, there is no separation. There is no pain. There is no lack. There's no ego, and there's no fear. That's where they are. That's where they are. They return to pure love and perfect oneness. Now, when I hear those type of words, I think, God, what the heck is that? It's hard to imagine that we come from that and that there's just no separation, no pain. We have that perfect, pure love and oneness. And that's where we all started, and that's where we all will return, and then our souls, continue to journey from there. But now, as we're here on this earth, how do we prepare for death? Stephen Levine, he has been an author, and he's done a lot of research about death and grief. If you haven't read any of his books, I highly recommend him. And he also, Stephen Levine, studied very closely with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. As some of you guys know, she did the 5 stages of grief. So, he's really studied under her, and they've done work together. So Stephen said, we're all dying. We just don't know when. So it's true. We're all dying. We just don't know when. So something to kind of keep in mind that to really value this moment that we have here together, that we have this community with the person that you're with, your loved ones. I think when we have these tragedies and these loss, that sense of preciousness, comes about. And how do we honor that preciousness? Is just staying present to what is or what isn't. Doesn't matter. So in this process of, learning how to, accept loss, death, whether we are going through that transition, whether that's of a loved one, is to, start to let go of all those constructs and identities, our status, belief in separateness, and really start to really embrace and accept that everything here on earth is temporary. It's temporary. So then, instead of having to sort of keep up with the Joneses or this status or this amount of money or drive this car or be with this person for this long or, raise your kids and they're perfect too, instead of all of that, those constructs and ideas that are built in us, we can shift our focus to our soul's growth and doing the work that our souls came here to do. Or we're supporting our loved one's soul's growth, okay, in their time, okay, so that's what we can do. So, because all of that just, it creates the separation, right, I'm in these ideas of who I think I have to be and what I have to maintain and what I have to keep maintaining. That keeps me from you and you and you and you and you. But if I just shift in here into my soul's purpose, into this moment, then I can just, connect and just be of support, however that is for you. Feel good for you. And if we're truly honest, we would admit that we do have a lot of attachments to the relationships, to the job, to the money, to the identity, how we're perceived, if we're liked, how's my performance review going to come from my boss, all of those things. We have those, and why? Why do we have those attachments? Because it does help us, make us feel more secure in a world that's constantly changing, that's really chaotic, that has a lot of pain and suffering and all of these things. So it makes sense that we hold on to those attachments because it's tangible, it's predictable, it's controllable, right? However, if we do this work, this level of work that death offers us, which isn't easy, I'm not suggesting any of this is easy, right? Letting go of all these constructs that keeps us believing that we're separate, we can be transformed. That's what death offers us when we do that work. So when we let go of all of that, what we're left with is our pure essence. There's nothing standing in the way. We're not holding on to anything. We're just being present to exactly what's inside of us without judging, without needing to fix that. We're just in this moment. Imagine that death gives us this incredible opportunity to drop our ego and just to love. Okay, next phase. So, the next part of this process to lean into in terms of really walking through this is recognizing and acknowledging our fear about death. I can hardly, step up to, what this work entails if I don't admit that I have my own fears. I have my own resistance Quite frankly, I didn't even like the word, you know. I think I might do the taking a dirt nap. I'm going to think I move that one forward. I think I'm closer to taking a dirt nap. But, and just really acknowledging that and doing so without judgment. I fear around that. Perhaps it's from religion, perhaps it's just uncertainty, I don't know, whatever that is. And just not pushing that away. Just, okay, I can admit I have fear around this, and I want to move through this, okay? And not pushing that away or pretending that you don't have that fear inside of ourselves. That's okay, you know? To be open and honest about the pain that we're experiencing is an opportunity to be authentic, real, and vulnerable. And when we're in that space, I mean, that's a real gift. When you're just in your true, authentic, vulnerable self, that's where your light shines. That's the good stuff. Okay. And then the other thing too is letting go for the need to have things to be a certain way. This person shouldn't be sick or dying. I shouldn't be sick or dying. Certain outcomes should be different. I should still be in remission. I should be stronger than this. My body is not doing what it should be doing. Or this shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. You know, all of those, while all of those, we can feel all of those things and be with all of those things, that blocks the opportunity to transform and go beyond that physical and come back to the spiritual, back to love, back to our soul, back to our loved ones. And when we do that, when we make that transformation, and we do, and we're going deep with this, right? We're really going within. And we just allow those thoughts and blocks to come and go, and we stay centered, and we just keep just being with that. We not only become closer and more helpful to others, we also come closer to God here on earth. So, you know, what is our carrot on the end of the stick by approaching this work is you will become closer to God as a result of doing this. And you will have less fear. Does anyone else desire that in this room? Okay, cool. I'm in the right place. Awesome. Okay. So Stephen Levine, as I mentioned earlier, so he wrote the book that I highly recommend. It's called Who Dies? The Active Investigation of Conscious Living and Conscious Dying. And I wanted to just say, what does conscious mean? It means to be painfully aware, to be sensitive to be awake. So the act of investigation of being awake in living, to being sensitive to dying, to be awake in the dying process, okay? And in Stephen Levine's book, he says, you know, whether I die or not, it's clear to me I have exactly the same work to do. Most people begin to open up to their life not because there's joy, but because there's pain. Very often it feels too unbearable to face that pain, that fear. How if we can shift our reactions to those spaces and just allow it to be there. God has not left us in these times. Love is not gone. What happens is all of that gets buried, okay? But we work through it, and through that grief process, we see what was there all along. But that does take work, and that does take courage. Okay, so another tool I wanted to talk about before I'm going to do a guided meditation with you guys. So what does this look like? I'm going to do a little guided meditation after this. That I wanted to go through is how do we process the loss of a loved one after we transition? And as we talked about, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she designed the 5 stages of grieving, which are the first one's denial, the second one's anger, the third one's bargaining, fourth one's depression, and the fifth one is acceptance. Now, acceptance doesn't mean that we accept that, this happened or we liked it. We just do not resist the facts and the reality that this person has, transitioned. And also, these grief stages aren't linear. We don't just go to denial, go to anger, go to bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It's a lot of leapfrogging back and forth, right? And that's just going to be a part of your individual journey as you go through that. But one of the really great parts of understanding this is the emotional component, okay, to dealing with death and loss. The emotional component, okay? And so when we lose someone that we love, what happens to us emotionally? It's kind of... So her work really helps ground us in what's happening, how we can really love ourselves and help, get that support that we need. But, and there is a but, there's always a but. This is also another place we can push away and we can resist and we can deny, right? Because it's tough. It is just tough. Going through grief is not easy. There's just no way around it. So we can blissony our way through it and just be like, well, they're in a better place, off to work. That's one route, or just, kind of deny what we're really feeling. But, remembering that our emotions, too, are also a part of our spiritual growth and transformation. Because if we don't deal with these emotions, we're not going to grow spiritually. We're going to stay stagnant. We will. So you could be doing all the spiritual mantras and chants and meditation and all the things that are wonderful and great on the spiritual path. But if you deny your emotions and you deny your feelings and you don't embrace and go through that process as well, you're not going to grow. You're going to keep staying in these stages and looping back. So it's another space for us to really accept that we have emotions here and they're okay. And let's honor those too. Okay? So are you guys also aware that, David Kessler, he added the 6 stages of grief? Do you guys know that one? Yeah. So, so David Kessler, he did the work with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and he actually, his son passed away. So can you imagine, he's done this grief work with like kind of the grief guru, and then one day, boom, he gets this call that no parent wants, that his son passed away. So now the world is looking at him, scholars are looking at him, people in his, community are looking at him. Like, what are you doing? What's he doing? And he said? He said, how I'm doing? He's like, I'm a dad, and that's how I'm doing, and that's how I'm processing. I'm not an academic, I'm not a scholar, I'm not this grief person, I'm a dad. And in his work, he realized that 5th final stage wasn't quite enough. So he added the 6th stage, which is meaning. And David says about this 6th stage, meaning. It's not about finding meaning in death. There is no meaning there. What it's about is finding meaning in the dead person's life, in how knowing them has shaped us. Maybe in how the way they died can help us to make the world safer for others. Finding meaning, in other words, is something that the bereaved can do after the death of someone they loved very much. It's how those who are left can fold the existence of that lost individual into our lives, how they can allow it to change them. And that was so impactful for me when I was processing my brother's death and in folding into my life. So the meaning is the verb, right? This is where we put this into action, that it's not about our grief and loss, it's about taking and honoring our relationship and what they have given to us and being a conduit and bringing that back out into the world. And what that did for me was you kept my brother's spirit alive. And so all that tragedy that surrounded his death now became, his way and my way together in this earthly plane to transform that. And my tattoo is, of the lotus flower in honor of my brother. So some of you guys might know what that represents spiritually is the transformation from dark to the light. This lotus flower comes from the mud and it's yucky and you can't imagine what would bloom from that. And so while my brother's soul didn't get through the mud, unfortunately because of addiction, as I transform and I bloom, he blooms with me. And so that's what this means for me. Okay, so that sixth one, oof, that's the good stuff. Okay, so for the final piece of this, I'm going to invite us to do a guided meditation. I'm going to get a chair here really quick. I'm going to come up. So we can just kind of go in the heart. Get out of the head. Get out of the distractions. If you have laundry to do, you'll get there. If you have groceries and errands, if your kids need you, whatever, just let that all be there. And in this moment, we're going to just practice how to enter this space to connect with our hearts and souls within us, okay? And so what we're trying to do in this meditation is become the observer of our thoughts, right? As we slow down and just become present, we start to have, that chattering monkey mind. We're just going to try to become the observer. We're going to really focus on trying to stay present through our breath. And when those thoughts start to come and those distractions really start to come, we're going to just release them and without judgment. Let them come, let them go. And what's going to bring us back is our breath in our nose and out of our mouth. Okay? Okay. Okay, guys. All right. I invite you guys all to just close your eyes. Just take a breath in your nose, out of your mouth. And just as gently as you can, just continue to breathe just naturally and normally through that in-breath, in through that diaphragm, making those bellies expand. And on that exhale, just releasing whatever stress, whatever distractions, whatever worries you might have. And as you're doing this, just start to notice and become present to your physical body, your feet on the floor. Maybe move your toes or feet around. Feeling your butt in the chair, feeling that support you, feeling your back. Just really grounding in, feeling the space that we're in with each other in this perfect moment, without a need to fix or change ourselves to be any other state. And then I'm going to ask you guys to keep your focus on when you're inhaling, as your abdomen and diaphragm moves up, and then in the exhale as your abdomen and diaphragm move down. So just pay attention to the inhale and the exhale very gently. Okay? And let that be that grounding presence. And then start to notice what thoughts are in my mind, what feelings. Am I feeling anxious? And just be an observer of that feeling, of that thought, whatever that may be. And just allow that anxious thought or feeling. Imagine it's a cloud, and you're just going to let it pass you by. And then again, we're just going to let that in-breath and then that exhale bring us back. Perhaps we're feeling a sense of urgency of things to do, things to come, the week ahead. And again, we're going to notice that without judgment, with just gentleness. We're just going to give it a little space. And again, it's just a cloud, that urgency. We're just going to let that pass. And our mind is going to continue to wander, and that's okay. Again, we just pay attention to that breath. Let that breath continue to keep us present. Perhaps we're feeling angry, frustrated, upset. Something didn't go our way. And we're just going to let that anger float on by. Perhaps we're holding on to some grievances right now. Perhaps a conversation that didn't go well. Perhaps something did something in a way that we didn't like, or we want it to be different other than it is. We're just kind of holding on to some grievances. We're just going to let the grievances cloud pass right on by. And a little bit deeper, what's our fear? What are we afraid of right now? What's holding us back from connecting with ourselves, with others, with God within us? Is it finances? Is it relationships? Is it family? Is it events that are happening in our external world? What is our fear? And just really be gentle to yourself in this place right here. And kind and loving. And let yourself know that it's okay that you're afraid. And that you just want to turn that fear over to your higher power, to have that transformed, to have it look at it a different way, and you just turn that over to Spirit, and you just let that fear cloud pass you by. And last, just really, really very deeply, as we've given ourselves room to just connect and be present to all that's within us, we drop a little bit deeper into our heart. What are we feeling in our heart? Is it happiness? Is it sadness? Is it anxiety? What is it? And just give it love if it needs it, or give it acknowledgement, whatever it might be. And knowing this is the space where all our answers live, and this is the place when we're hurt, and we're afraid, where healing lives. And so now let's just imagine just all of those things that we just went through in our mind and our heart. We're just going to put it in a bubble. Put it all in a bubble, whatever it is. And now release that bubble and let it go. Let it go. Let it all go. And seeing it disappear further and further into the clouds. And knowing it's all perfect, exactly how it is. And this right here is our answer. This is our home within while we're here on earth. And now, just try to wiggle your toes and come back to this present moment. Move your legs, wiggle your hands, move your neck, get any tension. When you're comfortable, open your eyes. And namaste. Thank you for letting me be here with you all today. I love you all. Amen, and so it is.
Thank you, Shannon. And I neglected to introduce Shannon. This was Shannon Sheppard. Thank you, Shannon. She's got a Master of Public Health from the University of Colorado. She's worked in healthcare for over 10 years, improving health outcomes within communities. And she's certainly a familiar face around this community. So thank you very much, Shannon. We also have our musical guest, John Sousa, and then we'll have a reading from lovely Katie Kurtz. I know I've had to deal with a lot of death since a very young age, and one thing that I've come to the conclusion is that on my deathbed, I never want to have to say, did I eat enough chocolate? So I have made a commitment, and you may hold me to this commitment of eating a lot of chocolate. John Sousa.
Good morning, everyone. It's really nice to be back here. And I'm going to play an old Irish piece, one of my favorites, called The Maids of the Mourne Shore. Thanks.
John will be back with another musical interlude. Katie, would you like to come in for our reading of the day, please?
Like Shannon, I lost a brother as well. This poem is in memory of my brother Jay, who died in 2012 and is dedicated to everyone who has lost someone or something they love. It's called Happiness, and it's written by Raymond Carver. So early, it's still almost dark out. I'm near the window with coffee and the usual early morning stuff that passes for thought, when I see the boy and his friend walking up the road to deliver the newspaper. They wear caps and sweaters, and one boy has a bag over his shoulder. They are so happy they aren't saying anything, these boys. I think if they could, they would take each other's arm. It's early in the morning, and they are doing this thing together. They come on slowly. The sky is taking on light, though the moon still hangs pale over the water. Such beauty that for a minute, death and ambition, even love, doesn't enter into this. Happiness, it comes on unexpectedly and goes beyond, really, any early morning talk about it.
Thank you, Katie. Ushers, are you ready to pass the plates? And so now is the time to open your hearts and open your pocketbooks and share your appreciation with the greater community, that bigger picture. And thank you so much for all being here. And we'll have a little, I guess I can do a few announcements now while we're passing the plate. We are having New Members Sunday, which will be October 3rd. And so for those of you who would like to join the community, please be looking at our website and be looking at our newsletter, and we will be having a celebration. You can let any of the staff know, me know. You can also let Sarma know if you are interested, and we'll be advertising and promoting that a lot more. I'm sorry? Oh, wasn't talking to me at all. Why? Let's see. Do we have any first-timers here today? One? Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, too. All right. We have 3. Oh, my God. Do I hear 4? Do I hear 5? 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, thank you so much for sharing your day with us. And these flowers are, of course, a token of our appreciation, and also to embarrass the heck out of you, so people walk up to you and say, hi, welcome. And if you haven't noticed this altar here, we have Barbara sets it up every Sunday, and it's a wonderful way to memorialize any objects or items that you might want blessing through the service. Just remember to pick them up on your way home or wherever you're going. Are we ready for our gratitude prayer? Nancy. So ushers, if you would please bring your basket or baskets down front. We'll have our gratitude prayer from Nancy Driver.
Let's just breathe in the breath of life and be connected to that divine essence. And we just embrace life. We embrace death. We embrace grief. And we embrace meaning. And as we embrace meaning, we embrace one another in this wonderful community of Althea. For it is through this community that we are able to experience such growth, such connection, such love and beauty. And we thank you for this wonderful expression of gratitude that each of you have given. And we just let this go on that magnificent cloud, that cloud in the deep blue sky of Colorado. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Nancy. So once again, let's have John Sousa up here. He's a contemporary American musician. He's a solo guitarist from New Jersey. New Jersey. Currently residing in Boulder. Oh, and he's going to be joined now by Ruby. Oh, well, cool. Who's Ruby? Do we know Ruby? Hi, Ruby.
Hi.
Whoa. She carries a lot of energy with her. So once again, please welcome John and Ruby.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have my sweetheart Ruby come up and sing this next song with me. And we're going to sing a song that fits in just very well with today's theme of loss and beauty coming from that and death. This is a song called Lord Franklin, and it's about the explorer, Lord Franklin, who pioneered the Northwest Passage, but his expedition did not make it, and they got stuck in the ice. But the song is from the perspective of his wife, and it's just kind of like a dreamscape. So we hope you enjoy it, and it dates back about 200 years, this song.
On mountains of ice.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Ruby. Wonderful. Oh, it's good to feel all of these somber feelings, isn't it? But it's also good to laugh. And so I'm here to tell you that we are now the proud site of a comedy club. Oh my God, who would have ever thought? I went last night. It's down in the theater. Jason and Daryl have done a beautiful job getting some lights up and cleaning it up. It looks very nice, very professional. The producers are just thrilled with this dynamic space. There were about 50 people. They do 2 shows, Fridays and Saturdays. And it was just a hoot. It's $10, and get a load of this. Okay, these are like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and you had to show proof of vaccination before they let you in. And I'm going, but I didn't bring my card, And then I went, oh, I took a picture of it. So I highly encourage you to check it out. It's quite a hoot. So a few more announcements. Of course, on the back of your handout here, we are looking, obviously, for a spiritual director. We are getting some hits. If you want to see what we're looking for, that link is on the website. I believe it's also in our website. It's also in the newsletter. And I mentioned the new membership ceremony. We are also going to be having at 11:45 or, well, let's see, it's 11:50. So as soon as possible, for those of you who might be interested in learning more about just what becoming a new member entails, we'll be meeting, where are we going to meet? I guess in the lunchroom. You'll see us. And so if you have any questions, please see one of us or see Judith and, what's your name? Catherine. Just kidding. I'm kidding. She's so serious. And so that'll give you a sort of a head start on what it means to be a new member, see how much fun we have. What else? We have classes, the Accountability Circle. This is a Zoom meeting. It starts September 13th. Is that Monday? That's got to be tomorrow, right? And then our Community Connections, which is run by Kathy Humphreys. That's weekly. She does a terrific job, so if you want to feel like you want to stay connected to the community, check out her classes as well. Those are on Thursdays, and they start at 11 o'clock. Do I have anything else I want to mention? Yes, there is a deep dive today. Thank you. Shannon will be hosting the deep dive. That'll be meeting around 12:15-ish in the library. Yes, that was on my... Oh, and we also have prayer partners. Suzanne Thomas, I got her right last name finally. I'm so thrilled. Raise your hand in the back there. If you would like a personal and private affirmative prayer, I encourage everybody, because we have more prayer partners here, to meet back by the prayer room. And Suzanne, and if we need more, we've got more prayer partners. But for a powerful prayer for anything you might be dealing with or something you want to manifest or some issue, affirmative prayer is the way to try to get solutions. And yes, in the prayer room off the library. And Jenny, would you like to talk about upcoming?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am Jenny. I am on the team to try to bring you amazing Sunday speakers and musicians here and there like we had today. Before that, though, one point of clarification. We want to make sure that those folks who are interested in becoming a new member and want to attend the session right after this, you will also be able to go to Deep Dive. So since we're a little bit late, if you would hold your Deep Dive until we're done with that, that was the intention, right? Yeah, so you don't have to choose between the two. And then I'm going to do a little spoiler alert. As Rick said, we are looking for a new spiritual director. Everyone knows that. And we want this person, of course, to be many, many, many things, probably far too many things than any human could be. So, Jesus, I don't know if you were coming back soon, but you might want to come back, and if you could come in the form of a woman this time, maybe have a little person of color, a little diversity. Anyway, sorry, I digress. One of the ways that we're going to make sure that this person is an amazing presenter and speaker is they're going to speak, but we're not going to tell you who they are. So that means you have to show up every single Sunday if you want a sneak preview of who might be your next spiritual director. So now that'll intrigue you. Let me tell you who's coming. If anyone remembers Peggy Evans from pre-pandemic, she talked to us about restorative justice, and it was powerful and amazing, and she had stories. She got volunteers afterwards to help her. She has now gone on to a new level called transformative justice. She is coming back to talk to us about that next Sunday. Then we have our own Rich Rediger, who's going to talk to us about forgiveness, deep forgiveness. Then we have New Member Sunday, and then after that, Stephen Burge is coming back. Woohoo! Our Pride presenter, Stephen Burge. We have an amazing black belt named Christopher Natsky who's coming to talk about the inner journey, lessons learned on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. We have dramatic healing, healing your relationships with Randy Ferguson, on and on and on. And one of those people, who knows, they might be interviewed. And then we might have some other folks coming on who will be potentially spiritual directors. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, turn out. This is going to be a really exciting time that we're heading into. So thank you so much. And also I wanted to remind folks, you don't have to put cash in that basket. We have something called a dip jar in the back that allows you to use a credit card. So how awesome is that? Rick, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks.
Thank you. We all love applause. I think that's all I have. Does anybody? Oh, we are still always looking for volunteers, right, Sarma? Yes, in the back here, see Sarma. And if you would like to be of service in some way, shape, or form, we are also looking for board members. So please see me. We'll get you an application or email Sarma. And anything else? Any other announcements? All right. We will have our final song with Rick and Daryl. Oh.
Yeah, this microphone down here is for you guys to be picked up on the Facebook, so it is required that you sing along with me. This is a real fun one that was suggested by Jenny. It's an old-timey gospel number, Down by the Riverside. So please stand and join me as you're able for Down by the Riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Down by the riverside, gonna lay down my sword and shield. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Gonna walk with the Prince of Peace down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna walk with the Prince of Peace down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside, down by the riverside. down by the riverside, gonna put on my golden shoes. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sticking around and listening. I do have a couple CDs with me up here, a business card. Come say hi if you want.